So if you have done some good projects, and by good I don't mean making a clone education system which is there, and it's not maybe able to keep up pace with what the company wants, what the industry wants, right? As of now, industry wants not only DSL go people who can actually do things. See, there's not one company which is there.
Hey guys, and welcome back. And today I have an amazing person with me. Now, before I introduce about him or before we start the talk, I just want to mention one thing. He's very funny because what happened? He was going to his home and he requested me that he wants some more time because obviously he was not able to reach home. But one thing which I really appreciate about him is like instead of I have seen many people canceling the podcast and saying, okay, I cannot do it right now, can we do it next time? But he said, Avinash, I just need 30 minutes so that I can reach out and I can start this. So that is something which I really appreciate, and I believe that obviously this podcast is going to help us. So obviously let's get started. The audience wants to know about you, so why don't you tell us about it?
So hello everyone, I'm Anikash Chakraborty, and I'm currently an SDA at housing.com, and I recently completed my graduation from DTU in computer science engineering. So in the past, I have worked with CureFit and as an SDA intern. In my free time, like I like to do swimming and stuff. And for tech skills, I am more like more into mobile and web development with
Okay.
and a knack for hackathons. So yeah, that's it about me.
Okay, fine. So you did mention that you did some internship. Now the thing is, right now it's almost end of August. So a lot of students are obviously looking for these kind of internships. So I want to understand, like obviously you got the internship. You got the internship at CureFit, which is obviously a very good company. If I talk about in terms, it's a product-based company. Now you're working at housing.com. Now I want to understand, whom did you bribe? Did you? Like, what was it like? Did someone said, okay, okay, I want you to work with this company, or did you bribe someone, or that was something totally different? Because obviously, as a student, I want to know.
I wish that happened, right?
Okay.
So, but no, that there was no bribing, and obviously not. So, talking about cult, so basically, it's Cupid is not cult only, and
Mhm.
with cult, I was actually like selected as an SD intern through my campus. Company came for campus internships, and I got a chance in the first week itself of the season.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was my selection for it. My like how I got selected, and as of housing. So what happened was Cult had also offered me a BPO, and
Mhm.
but they had like effort the joining by some amount. So I started
Okay.
searching for some other FT full time position. So I came across housing.com, and I came across it through LinkedIn as well as
Okay.
through my college portal, but mainly through LinkedIn. And I approached the HR and all from there
Okay.
itself, and I got an interview over there. So that's how the process was. We can discuss that.
Oh, okay. So, it sounds very easy. I feel like you're making it sounds very easy. So, like, I want to understand the whole process. Like, when we talk about internship, so majority what happens, like, if I talk about cult or maybe if I talk about housing, these are product-based company, and product-based company don't pick anyone. They look for people who have done something great. But I'm a student right now. Maybe I'm in third year right now. Maybe I'm in second year. So, what should I do actually to get selected by these company, or maybe at least those HR can see and say, okay, Avinash, or maybe like, okay, I want to discuss with you, like if you're a right person for us or not. So how this happens?
So I would say I had done a couple of internships before Cult.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was in my third year when my internship season started, and like when this happened, I got to basically sit for all the companies which were coming. So first and foremost, for any campus internship company, you have to have a good CGPA.
Okay.
So that is one of the main factors which I consider. Secondly, you need to have some kind of experience with projects, either
Okay.
projects or with any internship. And this I'm
Okay.
talking about for internships only, who people who
Okay.
are in second or third year. Okay,
Okay.
because mostly people don't get to do an internship because internship will ask for, if internship gets to ask for any experience, then it will be an infinite loop, right? So
Okay.
that we don't want. So they will also look for projects. So if you have done some good projects, and by good I don't mean making a clone, I
Okay.
mean that making something, like you can make a clone but add a feature to it, add a
Okay.
feature which you think should be there, and discuss it with the interviewer, so that I suppose they will see. And apart from that, DSN algo is always there, so you have to be very proficient with DSN algo. So like there will be 2 or 3 rounds for internships. So like in most of them you will be asked about DS and some project discussion that will be there.
Okay. Okay. Now, I want to understand one thing. Like, obviously, you mentioned about the projects, or you're also mentioning about the cloning part of it. Now, if I talk about India, it is, I mean, you can go to Google and you can just type anything and you will find majority of the projects. Now, why projects play an important role? Let's forget about cloning it or not. Like, it depends upon the person who is doing that or not. Like, I want to understand why should I be doing project? Because I'm already studying in a college and they're already teaching me this is a variable, this is a comment, or I would say this is a for loop, or maybe this is a while loop. Why should I be building a project when I've just, I mean, learned everything related to programming?
Okay, so that's a very good question and a very debatable one.
Okay.
So like I don't want to blame anyone, but there's our education system which is there, and it's not
Okay.
maybe able to keep up pace with what the company wants, what the industry wants, right, as of now. So for that, people want you to have gained something else, because see, in college you have a lot of time. Like
Mhm.
if you see your whole thing, like if you have done your JE, though
Okay.
you had to study for 12 or 13 hours, but in college you don't need to study 12 to 13 hours every day. But
Okay.
you don't need, but you can't just say कि, okay, I will just study for the college and then do, because things will not happen that way. So you have to put in those remaining hours into something, and that something maybe projects or internships. So
Okay.
projects would be a very good thing to basically express your way of doing things. Okay, so be it any project, it can be web project or a mobile project or a blockchain or AI/ML project. So that basically helps you to showcase what you have learned. Apart from that, because industry wants not only DS algo, people who can actually do things.
Okay.
So that is there.
Okay, so basically, like again, I would also agree to your point. Obviously, if I talk about if someone is hiring these days, they want to see can you fix the problem? That is it. Can you do it practically? If answer is yes, obviously they will offer you a good job. But if the answer is no, you will actually find it very hard. Now, obviously, I want to understand one more question which I have is you did some internships apart from the internships which was required by the college. Now, obviously, a lot of students says now you're saying that I have to have a good CGPA also. Let's forget about good CGPA. Now, if I talk about in terms of internship, do they actually play an important role? Because if I talk about going to an internship, that means I'm going to be engaged into an activity which I am not sure about right now. Obviously, my studies will lag. Maybe I'm planning for something else. Maybe I'm planning for MTech. Maybe I'm planning for GATE right now. And obviously, if I'm planning for job, so do internships actually help out? And if yes, how they help out in a practical way? I want to understand.
Okay, so let me give you an example.
Mhm.
Theoretical things are said by everyone. So I worked for a company known as Oxytocin Labs. So it was a startup by one of our seniors, super senior, maybe 2010 batch out passed by now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what he was doing is he wanted to make a company which could actually solve problems for others. So
Okay.
like it can pick up any client problem statement and build a solution for it. So
Okay.
what happens in things like these is you get a problem statement, you understand how exactly the architecture will be made, you understand what all technologies will be used, and then you start basically building upon it. So this is really different from what you will do, like if you don't do internships. Okay, if you are
Okay.
doing only a project, you can do it from a YouTube. Most people do it from YouTube or Udemy, and they build a project to it. So this is told you step by step. Okay, but
Okay.
there are certain times when we don't have deadlines, okay, and we
Okay.
don't have that pressure to get. And of course, everything is just like money is also a factor, right? So
Yeah.
you are also getting paid to do that work. So
Yeah.
your motivation will be double to do it,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
that that thing will actually help to showcase your skills, what you have learned in those in that particular time. Okay, maybe it was a very specific project, very specific thing, very specific client problem which you are solving, or very specific problem statement which you are working on in any company, any product based company, and you're building a
Mhm.
feature for it. So
Okay.
that is different from building a whole project, okay, and
Okay.
showcasing your skills. So maybe that just a small problem statement may end up getting you more deep dived into that project and more into the tech, and ultimately the basically the structure used and all in that. So that is why internships, like I would say, are good to have, better than
Okay.
projects. Also, they will basically, projects are okay, fine, they are there, but internships, you are getting paid for it, you are getting guidance from your mentors, okay,
Okay.
you are getting you are getting a problem statement, you're getting time bounded. So everything is there, you are getting simulated, but basically you're getting a simulation of working in a company. So I
Okay.
would say that is a good thing.
Okay, fine. You mentioned a very good point that while doing an internship, you had few mentors who assisted you and guided you. Now, I want to understand one thing. Like, obviously, I understand the importance of a mentor, but usually students says, "Why do I need a mentor? I can go to internet and I can search for the answer." Like, let's say if I want to make, maybe if I want to understand how bubble sort works, I can go to YouTube and I can just understand from that. How a mentor plays an important role compared to a person who is who is learning from internet.
Yeah. So you mentioned an example of bubble sort, right?
Yeah.
So you're basically solving the problem of sorting, right?
Yeah.
But suppose you don't know about merge sort or a quick
Okay.
sort, and your mentor shows you the way that this can be done in a more efficient way because I have done this in the past. So you should do this with a quick sort, and that will also improve your basically time complexity. So
Okay.
this is a very short example, and we usually learn all these sorting problems. But I am saying in the big picture that when you are trying to solve a problem and you know a way to it, maybe you have found it over Stack Overflow that okay, this can be done in this way. But what if your company wants something else? What if they are using some legacy code? What if your organization is using some other way to solve the problem, which have been done
Okay.
in the past? So this will save your time, right? And this will also help you to like learn more things, understand more that this stuff can be done in this way as well, and that can be only told by your mentor when you
Okay.
are stuck.
Okay. So basically, I understand this point and I appreciate that you have actually mentioned this because majority of the time students what they do, they feel like okay, I can go to Google and I can start learning from it. But the problem is obviously Google is going to only answer the questions you are asking.
Yeah.
It is not going to suggest you like this is a wrong question you're asking. This is not the right answer you have with you. So the mentor obviously will come in and they will say that I have actually done this kind of a thing. I've made this mistake, wasted my 2 years. Don't do that. So as a student, I would say like obviously having a mentor is very, very important. Now let's move to the. Let's move to the next point. Let's like obviously. Majority of the students, if I talk about, they wake up suddenly at 3.5 years of their engineering and they decide now I want to get a job. This is a reality. I have seen so many students and people. Like there are so many students who are going to be right now. They will see, okay, I have a summer internship. Winter internship coming from month of January, and I want to prepare for it. Now, obviously, it is very late for them. But if I want to understand from your side, like obviously you have, you did one internship, then you got a very good product-based company. So if you want to give a quick kind of a roadmap to a student who just got up, fine, no issues, you are late right now, but yes, obviously, at least you're not lagging behind maybe 1 year or 2 years. So like what would kind of a roadmap you want to give to a person who is looking for permanent roles? Like obviously this is their final year and people who are looking for internship.
Okay, so I would start with internships. So
Okay.
suppose the person wakes up in this second year. So first of all, the in an internship, when you're going for an internship, the company doesn't expect you to have any other prior internship experience. Like
Okay.
they can be companies, but mostly they don't expect because they are giving an internship, right?
Okay.
So first and foremost, you need to fix your DSN algo,
Okay.
and data structures and algorithms are very important. So that is going to be the talk of the, basically it's going to be the matter, okay,
Okay.
center of the talks, and you cannot escape it anyway. Apart
Okay.
from that, you can build two projects or maybe one or two projects and deep dive into it, like understand it. Don't copy it from anywhere, don't just clone it, but
Okay.
understand it and maybe contribute to it. It can be any open source project as well.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be your whole own project. You can contribute to any open source. You can write down, mention that you have contributed to this open source, you have done this part, and that's fine. Like it doesn't need to be rocket science, but fine. You need to have these two things for internship.
Okay.
Apart from that, for an FTE, I would say having a prior internship experience is good.
Okay.
But suppose you don't have, okay, and that is that may be the case with people because internships are very hard to find, and like a lot less companies offer you internships than full-time jobs. So what you can do is you can you have to obviously do DSI algo. That is obviously there. That is a
Okay.
must. Apart from that, you need to do projects and maybe contribute more into open source, or do like if you are into research and all, maybe try to build some ML, like maybe go into ML and AI and start reading some problem statement and giving a solution for it. Maybe work under a professor or someone in college. And
Okay.
I think working under with a professor for maybe 6 months would be enough to basically have like have with you something that you can mention in the resume, because professor will
Okay.
obviously allocate you some project and that you can mention. But if you have internships, then it's amazing. You need to mention it clearly that what exactly you did and what impact did you make with all the tech stack which you did. So that is it from my side.
Okay, fine. So basically, you're trying to say is that, I mean, even though it is technically late, but yes, if you actually get serious about this stuff, obviously you'll be able to make it, I mean, to the finish line at least. And not the best part, but yes, at least you will be able to finish it. Now, I want to understand one thing from your side is like, obviously, what is happening right now, like majority of the students, like you mentioned about ML and I mean, ML and AI. So someone is saying the blockchain is the new technology. Someone is saying like someone says cloud is new technology. Someone is saying software development. Someone says React JS. Someone says Node.js. Someone says Python, Java. So there are so many technologies if I talk about. Now, obviously, you might be confused when you were looking for internship or jobs. Like, should you go for cloud? Should you go for blockchain? Should you go for software development kind of a thing? So, how as a person can I actually focus on one thing and I can start learning on it and obviously, I mean, make my career into that? Because obviously, what will happen, like if I try to do everything, I will not be able to do anything. And obviously, then after fourth year, I will be just looking at my friends. They will be posting that they got a job and I will be looking for the opportunity. So, how can I decide what should I do?
So that depends on which stage of your engineering or basically your degree you are. So
Okay.
suppose you have one or two, basically, suppose you are in a second year, okay, and or your first year, first to second year. So what you can do is you can try to explore everything. I would say try to
Okay.
explore like whatever you want to do. Like obviously you cannot explore everything, but start with web, maybe mobile. Okay,
Okay.
this is known as these are basic developments, so which people do most popular.
Okay.
Maybe you are not getting the hang of it. Maybe you feel like this is done by everyone and I am not getting a hang of it. This is very easy or something, like I'm not sure about this. So
Okay.
you can switch to AIML. So how
Hmm.
exactly you are going to AIML is mostly AIML is done through research type of things. So if you are reading research projects and all, because you may be working under some professor, or you have fourth year, basically the BTech project which we need to make, the final year project. So maybe you can start thinking about it and start working on your project from right there. So that
Okay.
can get you a hang of AI/ML. And if not, you can go to YouTube and like get on videos, get to go to Udemy, buy a course, something like that. If you want to do a blockchain or cloud, you can explore that as well. Blockchain, you need to do Rust or something like that, Solidify and all. So point is that you need to explore things. Okay.
Okay.
And if you get to know that, okay, this is fine for me, this is working for me, I'm getting a hang of it. And most rewarding is, suppose you get an internship out of what you learned. So that is very rewarding. So
Okay.
if you get an internship out of it and you like this is what worked for me. I went for mobile development. I didn't like it much at
Okay.
first, but then I went for web and I started doing web. I was basically doing PHP back then,
Okay.
and nobody does PHP. And I was doing PHP with MySQL. I built a project. Then I got an internship, had some random remote internship, where I did a lot of PHP work along with some mobile development. And there I
Okay.
learned that, okay, something I can try something else as well. So that is how you explore things and get to find your liking. But suppose you are in your third year or fourth year and you want to think that, okay, I need to build something. I would
Okay.
say don't take a lot of risk at that point, because you need to be sharp with your DS and algo as well. Maybe try a tried and tested way like web development or mobile and go with it. But I'm not limiting you to anything. Maybe you can try with AI/ML as well. But don't just go with the wave that, okay, blockchain is a new technology, I would have to learn it. Maybe you won't like it at much, and maybe people who are, maybe you won't get the hang of it, what exactly is this basics of it. People just go to technology, they just learn the syntax, and they just try to build something without knowing what exactly is there in between. So I
Okay.
would say that tried and tested out way in the third year. And if you think that, okay, this is not my way, then you go with something else that you like. But time is also a constraint, so you have to look after that.
Okay, so basically, like as you're saying that this is something even I did in my college days. Like I started, I even did animation if I talk about. But like let's say yes, this if you try so many things in the early time, you are able to decide. Okay, this is something I think I can do in the longer run, and this might be a very good time. I mean, this might be a very good way for you to understand. Okay, I mean that is a very good advice because obviously majority of the students, like in the comment section, I always get from the students is I'm learning this, I'm learning this, I'm learning this, I'm learning this. So even I get confused like where you are actually trying to make your career. Now, I have another question. Like obviously, if I talk about in terms of this preparation, obviously we can talk in lengths like, okay, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do. These are kind of hard skills if I talk about. I want to understand one thing about the kind of a soft skill if I talk about. So like usually what happens these days, a lot of students are focusing on learning this, learning that, learning this and learning that. But the world does not work in that way. World need people who can present their ideas. World need people who can express their ideas. So obviously I've seen majority of the students like, I mean, going to GitHub if I talk about, going to Stack Overflow, going to LinkedIn, I mean, building their brand using LinkedIn. I'm not saying you should become a full-time content creator. What I'm trying to say is, I mean, they're doing this. So does this actually help? And if it does help, like how it has helped, and will it make any effect to my, I mean, career path, or if I talk about the career goals?
So I would say personal branding is a lot in trend right now, and
Okay.
people are doing that on LinkedIn very much. So people just post things and all, and maybe it may or may not be related to their field.
Okay.
See, building a personal brand might be helpful till the time that you get visibility for any
Okay.
recruiter.
Okay.
But after that, it's all your technical skills, which how you qualify.
Okay.
So personal branding can only help you in getting some visibility by the recruiter that, okay, that you are also there. Can we reach out? Because even I got some visibility.
Okay.
I didn't do much personal branding, but since I was in the placement team in the college, I got some messages through LinkedIn itself from HRs that, okay, let's can we interview you and this and that. And this happens with anyone. This can happen with anyone who is
Okay.
active on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So, but I would say that after that, it's all your technical skills. So personal branding, it's your personal choice, but get on with your technical skills as well.
Okay, so LinkedIn, if I talk about, is obviously a social network, but what about GitHub and Stack Overflow? Like, I mean, these are the kind of a technical websites
Yeah.
if I talk about.
So GitHub is good. GitHub is really good. And
Okay,
if you use GitHub in a right way, like reading, following people who actually do new stuff, following that can help you get to know more technologies and all. So if the GitHub is used in that way, that's good. And if you are suppose building new projects, so there was my friend who used to post a lot on GitHub about his
okay,
projects. He used to post new projects and then maybe display it over LinkedIn, and
okay,
that got him a lot of basically visibility. So
okay,
in that way, it's very good. GitHub is going to be a great source of thing for you, because when you get stars and all and folks and also you get your that motivation to do more stuff. So
okay,
GitHub in that way is good, and GitHub will obviously help you to get an interview as well. So
okay.
that is well. Apart from the which one were you asking? GitHub and
Stack Overflow.
Stack Overflow is all again great, but I would say don't spend a lot of time on Stack Overflow. Just
Okay,
maybe you can, yes, you are obviously searching for an answer and you got one, you liked one, or maybe you helped out someone. That's fine, but don't spend much time on it. Rather spend something on GitHub and build something. So that's what I
okay,
would say.
okay, fine. Now you mentioned the point of getting motivation. Now, usually what happens, like as a student, if I talk about like when you face one or two rejection, maybe for an internship, maybe from an interview, you get disheartened. Like maybe this might have happened to you also, but I'm not sure. But this happens with a majority of the students. They say, I'm a fresher right now and I'm not able to find any job. I'm not able to find any internship. So how, like, what kind of a suggestion would you give to a person so that they can keep the motivation going, so that they don't get disheartened?
So what exactly happens is when you face a rejection,
Okay.
your self-esteem goes down as well, not
Yeah.
not only other things. So how you can overcome that is, suppose you like, I will tell my story as well. I was interviewing for sprinkler,
Okay.
and I got through like the first interview, and then got rejected in the second round.
Okay.
So that did lower my self-esteem. But how you exactly pick yourself up is, see, there's not one company which is there.
Okay. Yes.
Also,
Exactly.
yeah, there's not one company which is there. There will several of them. You have to appear in all of them. And first of all, if you are getting rejected, if you get a if you get some kind of review, that's fine. But if you're not getting review, you obviously have to introspect what exactly went wrong, where exactly did I do wrong, and then work upon it rather than crying about it. So you can cry for 10 minutes, well, maybe a day. That's
Yeah.
fine. And after that, you have to pick yourself up and go for the next one, because the race doesn't end there, right? So you have
Mhm.
to reach the finishing line. So yeah, that is how you need to deal with rejections, and don't get disheartened. You have the next one already right there, so keep on for it. Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, I want to add one more point. Like obviously, having more than one company is one of the greatest motivations. Second thing is have a mentor, because obviously
Yeah.
mentor is the person who is going to be with you and they will be able to understand, okay, you're going through this kind of a phase, and they will be able to assist you, because having a human connection who can understand your emotion, especially in this scenario, it actually helps a lot. Now,
Absolutely.
next question I have for you is, obviously, like you're working right now with housing.com. So I want to understand, like you're working in the, I mean, you're working as a software engineer there. So I want to understand, you are already working with a company which has millions of customers almost every day. So what kind of a future, I mean, what kind of technologies do you think are going to take over the world? Because obviously, if I'm a student who is doing internship right now, I want to make sure that if I'm just right now, when the placement season starts for me, I'm prepared for those kind of technologies.
So that's a good question. So, but I would say that it depends on the company. It's very subjective to companies.
Okay.
But talking about housing and maybe similar product-based companies, they are working on two things mainly right now.
Okay.
See, they have their product built. They have their product built on. It is being there, and people are maintaining it. But what new are they working upon is, first of all, they want to utilize the data which is which is coming there. Okay,
Okay.
and secondly, they want to analyze it or maybe predict something out of it.
Okay.
So they are leveraging AI a lot
Okay.
in this.
Okay.
Like working with Cult, I understood that how exactly they were leveraging Cult. They were leveraging AI,
Okay.
and all the actions, all the positions you do while while doing exercise, while doing a workout, that all goes into the system. Those data points are collected, they're analyzed, and then they're sent to AI and ML models to predict things. They're doing several out of things. So these are the things which are hot right now. Exactly, working, like these are being worked upon by every company. I would say
Okay.
every product based company is working upon this. There is a separate team obviously out there for web and mobile and separate things, but for these niche things they are doing a lot of things. So when you are going to a lot is not expected out of a fresher unless and until uh, like it's a very niche role like AI applied scientist or something, like when you are going to an ML engineer type of thing. But
Okay.
if you're going for an SDE, I would say that yes, having a good knowledge of a web and mobile development is good. But
Okay.
if you're also working upon AI and ML or any data driven technology, that's amazing. Like that would be a plus factor for you
Okay.
because it
Now
helps
you.
you in team matching. When the team matching round comes, it helps
Okay.
you there. So maybe you are fit for a good team, and they will match you out there. So yeah.
Okay. Now you did mention a very good point. Like in Cult, you understood how AI is being implemented. Now I want to mention one thing. At Cult, you were an intern. You were not even full time.
Yeah.
So you can imagine when you're doing an internship in the product-based company, especially if I talk about when you see a huge chunk of, huge set of customers you're having, so you are able to learn and implement new things. I mean, I'm not saying that you will go there and you will say to the CEO that I'm going to do this now. You have to follow my rules. It's not like that, but obviously you can give these suggestions and kind of a thing. So the kind of learning you get in the internship, or I would say the exposure, is unbelievable for a very special reason. Every day there is new thing is happening. Every single day they want to implement something. Maybe there is a new trend which they have to catch up. So obviously, this is the kind of importance I would say. Obviously, if we talk about the internship, especially in the product-based company. So it is going amazing. And I have a last question for you, and which is very important. What is one mistake you want the audience of our channel to avoid, which you made, so that they can actually, they can make their career a bit faster compared to what was for you? One mistake you want them to avoid.
Um, I would say don't attach yourself to anything.
Okay.
Okay. So if you attach yourself, be it any company, be it any project, be it any technology you are doing, don't
Okay.
get attached to it because by the time, like I'm talking for technology, by the time you master it, it's already deprecated. So that is how things work. And don't get attached to any company. Suppose if that company goes wrong or something like that, you'll have your heart broken or something like that. You don't clear your interview, you will have. And I think don't get yourself attached to anything. If you're rejected in a if you got rejected in an interview, don't get attached. Like I did at times. I used to introspect because why I couldn't do it and my friends could do it. So that is not how exactly things will work. There is something in store for you,
Okay.
and maybe that will be the best one for you. So that
Okay.
is one piece of advice.
So basically, not attaching ourselves with anything. I mean, with anything, it's obviously almost everything because we are living in a professional world. Just like there are not just one company, there are so many companies. And obviously, if I talk about in terms of opportunities, there is not just one opportunity, there are so many opportunities. So it was great having you, buddy. It was really great having you. Now, obviously, if the audience, or I would say if a viewer of the channel right now would like to connect with you and they want you to become their mentor, they want you to become their mentor, how they can connect with you?
You can reach me out at the LinkedIn. I'm sure
Yeah, we will be
Avinash
posting
will
your
give it.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, Avinash will give it, and I think that would be the best method to get connected.
Okay. And one suggestion I have for you guys, like obviously he's working full time, so make sure you not, spam him. Just drop a simple message like I saw your video on Skill Nagar and I just want this kind of help, because obviously he's working full time, so that does not mean that he's going to mentor you 24/7. So it was great having you, buddy. And I hope the audience will obviously learn something from this particular video. And the goal was to actually create the exposure, which obviously you have told us how to do that. So thank you very much. And I hope someone will learn something out of it and we will use a product which you have built.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so